Q&Asa. Game on daily. Asa. Game on daily. Asa. Game on daily.
Interesting theories. I'm not going to tell you what was going on. But here we go. Welcome to the world of Q&Asa. Past, present, future of games. This doesn't look like a very good background, does it? All converging and we're going to have a really nice time. What's the exasperation? What's the OMG? I see lots of people here. I see episode 13, Isla obviously, Tom, Tony, everybody's Tony, Peter, Baz, Bryce here, episode 13, I might have already said Pixel Slapper. Peter morning. I'm reading the same names again and again. I don't know what's going on or where I am. Thank you everybody that is here for being here and talking to me. Tom, I don't think I said Tom. Maybe I did. Did I say myself? I am also here. That much I know. I definitely said Isla. Yes. Painful Discourse as well. Welcome. It is not a Resident Evil background. Nice try though. Nice try. Dave Mack as well. How's it going? How is it going? We've got, despite news obviously being like slowed down a bit for the end of the year, there's a fair amount that we can extract talking points out of this week. And I've got a list written somewhere. I've lost it. So it's probably going to be completely derailed and we won't cover any of the things that I intended to cover. But before we attempt to cover anything, a word from our sponsor. It's still, yeah, I thought I pressed the wrong button then. It's still Game On Daily. It's still there. News aggregation platform, eventual social media platform maybe. Lots of stuff going on, lots of gaming news, lots of things. So you can keep up with it all at Game On Daily. And if you say stuff over there, I'll see it because I'm literally the only one wandering around that place all by myself and I see everything that goes on there. Good times, good times. Can we ignore all Sony news? Why would you want to do that? Episode 13. Space Denizen, welcome. I have not played Nexus yet. It may be downloading as we speak, or it may have finished downloading, I'm not sure. What about you? Have you had a chance to look at it? The background almost looks like the Skibidi Toilet Lab. It's definitely not the Skibidi Toilet Lab. Wait a minute, did T-Rex type that, or is Tony typing on T-Rex's behalf? No, that's Tony typing because T-Rex wouldn't have found his own emoji all by himself. I will try and be on best behavior with the languages, but there are certain occasions where I have to read out whatever is said and I can't help it if the language is bad. So, oh, Peter, that's all right. You've not missed anything. You've not missed. We're just getting started. Space Citizen, do you still play pancake games as well? Or are you strictly VR or death? We're going to talk about games. All news is relevant. Makes chip paper taste extra salty. Well, yeah, old printed news, I don't know. Don't know if much of the stuff we're talking about makes the print, but makes the presses. Gonna buy the PlayStation Portal yet? Welcome, Alex. I did not buy the PlayStation Portal. I will not be buying the PlayStation Portal. I do want the earbuds, but I do not want the Portal. We'll talk about it a little bit though. Why not? Why not? Deserves to go in the bin. You'd have to buy it in order to put it in the bin, episode 13. And my reasons for not wanting it aren't to do with the way it performs, really. I've said many times that I'm just not that interested in portable gaming. So, we've got some soup going on. Space Denizen does play the occasional pancake. Let's get right on with how the show works and then what we're playing. So, it's conversational. We talk. I'm a freaking idiot. So, as we go back and forth, I usually forget what's going on mid-sentence and everything gets derailed very quickly and who knows what's going on where and why, but it is conversational. So stick stuff in there. Hello Replicant, welcome along. Stick stuff in there. Tony, calm down. Stick your comments in the chat and we go back and forth. You can talk to each other obviously as well, and that's how the show works. But if that's not good enough, if you need to be seen and heard to fulfill your evening's desires, I don't know, then you can get onto Discord. Join the Game On Daily Discord. There's a link in the description. Isla's probably, maybe, possibly going to paste one as well. Stick yourself in the waiting rooms. Waiting room B, waiting room 2, or waiting room Knuckles. And I'll drag you in for a little chat. We can do that. Option 3 is the super chat. The super chat, we're going 5 figures today. If you want a super chat and actually have it read, because I'm like this scatterbrained, you're going to need to go for 5 figures, so 10 grand or over, or equivalent in your local currency. So that's 10 grand in my currency, UK, pound sterling, or equivalent in yours, and I'll read out your super chat on the spot. 5 figures, yes, episode 13. That's the minimum price. You can go 6, 7 figures if you want, but yeah, I'll take 10 grand and above. That will set me for a little while. So that's option 3. Option 4. What is option 4? Oh, option 4 is usually option 2. There's going to be a Q&A box appear. The YouTube Q&A box, formal one, will appear. You can stick whatever you want in there. It's not limited to questions. You just say things that you want me to have a look at. At the end of the show, we go over all of those. Questions do work quite well if you want to put questions in there. but I'm not overly strict. So we'll go through things. No riddles. And that's probably about it. Beyond what the biggest is that YouTube will allow, we will never find out without asking them. Maybe they'll tell us, and then we will find out, and I'll look silly. Pixel Slapper, you've got switches everywhere. You mean network switches, not Nintendo switches, right? Every modern home has a Nintendo Switch in every room. Cool. Isla needs to launch the question bar. She will. Right. My favourite Italian food and my favourite online game. We'll get to them. Among Us is your favourite online game. Well, that's nice. Wait a minute, Isla. I didn't say that. This is getting very confusing for me. Peter, thank you for gifting a membership. And thank you to whoever claims it. Because if you claim that membership, it means that you are here supporting the channel as well. So much appreciated. But obviously, Peter more so than Dave. Sorry, Dave. Thanks, Peter. They do help. The memberships, you know. How do you claim? I don't know, episode 13. You do have to have YouTube configured to allow you to claim it. So, I just want, that's fine. The questions are there. It's all good. She might be able to tell you how to claim the membership gift as well. I don't remember. But there are little steps you have to take before it will let you claim it. And you do have to manually claim it. And let's do talking about games. Right? I think I've run over all of the kind of rules and regulations, which isn't really what they are. Talked through all the ways that I'm going to get rich by sitting in this chair. So, it says report or block. Don't do either of those things, please. What have you all been playing? Since last week, what have you all been playing? It must be good stuff. I don't think anything much released in that week's window. Because last week Alan Wake 2 was fresh and Robocop was fresh. Maybe Call of Duty counts. Is that just released? Are any of you on Call of Duty? Obviously Assassin's Creed Nexus has launched or is in the process of launching today, but I doubt any of you have had the time to get on with that. Replicant, you're still on Warcraft. Describe a typical Warcraft session. What are you doing on that game? So you've got your, is it Void Elf Warlock? And you log on to World of Warcraft. What do you do? My wife is trying to get me to play World of Warcraft, which is an unusual thing. She has fond memories of playing it like years and years ago, but I have very little memory of this time. But she's all for it. She wants us to get on that. Whereas I have issues with World of Warcraft, so it's a delicate negotiation, but I think we'll probably end up playing it in some capacity at some point. You're a Nightborn, so Void Elf is Alliance. Well, I mean, us sophisticated gents play Horde and Alliance so that you can really get full exposure to the riveting story and characters. But I kind of stopped before all of those extra variants of the classes really came into it. So I did have a look the other day and I can see they're quite easy to get access to now. You don't have to do the achievements that you used to have to do. You just have to have a higher level character or a level 40 on the account or something like that. So that's good. Pixel Slapper. I shouldn't, like, when the first 3 words that I got arrested, I should exercise caution and not just read aloud, but I'm going to. T-Rex, be careful. You got arrested for playing with what you were playing with. Who knew Kayas are banned by airports? What's a Kaya? Oh, kites. Have you actually been arrested for flying a kite at an airport or around the airport? I know drones and things you're definitely not allowed to fly near an airport, so kites would make some sense. But surely they just gave you like a slap on the wrist and not any like serious trouble. So Dave Mack and Pixel Slapper are on Forza still. We might do a bit of that on Sunday, we might not, I don't know. And Tom is playing... Oh yeah, Tom, how's WRC? Right, is that my real table in the background? You mean in front of me in the foreground? No, it's not. It is a Spider-Man table. Yes, it is. And it doesn't really fit the background that I've got today because Or the electronics would get rather wet and explodey. One Piece Odyssey? No, you haven't been playing One Piece Odyssey. That's not a recent release, is it? How is it? Anime games are always quite... like they fall into 2 or 3 different archetypes, and none of them are usually things that I stick with for very long. But you're on the last chapter, chapter 11 of Lies of P. Painful Discourse. How do you know it's the last chapter? Is there an indication in game that tells you you're like so and so percent through, or have you been cheating and going onto YouTube and checking guides and stuff? Outrageous things like that. Random. No, Dave just claimed it quicker than you. If you remember, you'd have a green name for me and you'd have a badge. You'd be a badger. It is random. I thought it wasn't random. So it's random between the people that have gone on to set themselves as eligible. You don't have to claim it. Okay. Glad we've got that cleared up. So we've got WRC is being played by Tom. Warcraft is being played by Replicant, who did Replicant tell me what he does on a typical Warcraft session? Because I am curious. They're very easy now to unlock the races. Yes. What do you do though? I need to know. I saw in amongst all of the talks with Blizzard about World of Warcraft, they did say something that I quite liked when they were talking about like their philosophy and designing the game going forwards. They were using the term quality time a lot, which is what Warcraft needs. Like they need to focus on making sure that when you're on there and playing, whether it be on your main character or one of your many alts, that you are spending your time doing things that are worthwhile and good. So if they can deliver on that, stick with their quality time philosophy, maybe it will be good to go back to. Especially if someone at Microsoft comes in and says, stop being dickheads with the monetization. I'm not saying that's likely to happen, but it sure would be nice if it did. So Tom, this is WRC. The rally game handling feels a bit better than Dirt Rally. Dirt gets messed up as soon as it's driven so that your position... Wait. Dirt gets messed up as it's driven on, so position matters. You can even go for full-length stages of like 30 or 40k. So is there a mode within WRC where you race simultaneously and crash into each other? I know that's not how rallying actually works, but that's more fun for multiplayer. If you didn't get a message under the pizza has gifted a membership thing, it's possibly already active. Uh-oh. Don't worry, episode 13. The memberships, you don't need them. I'm not giving massive preferential treatment to the badges. It's nice for me to have them around, but it's not essential for you to participate or anything silly like that. I'm glad you're here. That counts as support. The memberships are just there for anyone that has like money kicking around and can support in that way, but definitely not a thing you need to feel you need to fit in. You've been playing Metropolis Street Racer on your Dreamcast. That's wonderful. I imagine the Kudo system still holds up really well in that. Much as Forza Horizon is cool as fuck in a lot of the things that it does, and Forza Motorsport obviously takes itself very seriously. Metropolis Street Racer and Project Gotham, they did have their own style to them that would be nice to see return. I liked those games. Obviously, I'd rather see them return in VR, because that's how all racing games should be played. Go to mine for lunch at the weekends. That's a terrible idea. And you make really hot chili and nothing else. It's not true. I made green Thai curry today. Good job, me. Not that you know of. It's just that you're further down the order, then the dirt is packed more, so you can potentially go faster. Fair enough. I was more thinking because it's obviously got 5-hour trials, so if there was a fun way to head-to-head on it with a group, then it might have been worth telling people to download and play. Still haven't used the Joker after all these years. The Joker's, they doubled it, right? I think, I can't remember how it worked, but I think if you played a Joker before a race, then you got double the kudos or something. It just put pressure on performing well. Is that right? A long time ago. Yeah. I don't think I ever played one either. It's a very limited supply item. These days you just be able to buy more jokers, but back in those days, no. That's double that. It's a 10-hour trial. I don't know where I'm getting 5 hours from. So 10 hours is like the EA typical. But I could have sworn I read that it has 5-hour trials on Xbox and PlayStation. But my word means nothing, so maybe I didn't. Maybe I dreamt it. So Ida, you just saw this on Reddit. If you're trying to turn on allow gifted memberships, something, channel URL, pop-up box. Yep. That's all for episode 13. That's fine. Baz, you're still trying to kill the third boss in Liza P. How many goes have you had? The only thing that you've been on apart from cheap, shitty Xbox indie games. Well, don't just like give the little guilty hint. What cheap, shitty indie games have you been playing? And have any of them actually been good? Yeah, I don't know the answer for sure, Tom. I've got the EA PC subscription thing, so I won't trial it either. I'll have the whole game unless I want to trial the console versions for comparison's sake. But that sounds like a lot of video work, and as we know, videos aren't worth making. I don't make the rules, but that's how it goes. Not brave enough to go to a level 3 zone yet, but you're making your way through the zombie story. I'm lost. I don't know what game that even is. Someone said something up here. So, PC, you watched the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin launch trailer today. Some of it looked interesting. I only know, Peter, that it's not reviewed well. But I don't know why. I don't know what people's issues are with it. Let's bring up that trailer. I like to bring up a trailer. Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin. That's a long name. YouTube. Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin launch trailer. No. Here we go. 2 days ago from the official channel. Whoa, that is pixelated to shit. I can only conclude that I am currently downloading Assassin's Creed Nexus. Apologies for the quality of the trailer. What the hell? Oh, it says that it's 1440p, which should be adequate for the stream, and now it's crispy. Oh well. Oh well. So, I don't know what's supposed to be wrong with it. Apparently you get very little like micromanagement control when you send units into battle and stuff like that. So it's hard to really tell. What I do want to play, mostly because they keep talking about it on ACG's podcast, they're constantly talking about Age of Wonders as being this really good 4X game, and I've never got into a 4X game and played properly, but they've made me want to play that. So I'm going to, when I can. When will that be? Nobody knows. There's another one as well. Remnant I'm going to play too. Anyway, forge your army, do some things. That's Warhammer. I'm going to bring up this silly YouTube stuff and catch up with what you're saying. So everyone loves Liza P, especially Tom. Baz, someone's doing a big mission at the moment with a few other friends. What looks sweet on the PlayStation 5? I've missed a bit. Call of Duty. Oh, Call of Duty Zombies. Do you know, I can't Call of Duty. One day when they're all on Game Pass, I'll play the campaigns a little bit. So they just made the game easier across the board with the patch for Liza P. What, another one, Painful Discourse? What's piss poor, episode 13? Yeah, I don't know why it came up like that. There is a fair chance, and I shouldn't do it while I'm streaming, but it's a little bit awkward to stick the quest on my face and pause its downloads if it is doing it. There's a chance that I am downloading a game right now. So, what have I been playing? I want you to tell me more, because I know you've been playing more than this. And on Liza P being a role-playing game, considering you can farm, you're going to call it an RP, a role-play. We'll talk a little bit about the Game Awards stuff in a minute. which is where that has been nominated as an RPG, isn't it? Your soup went cold. I have invented microwaves, and you may leverage their power. Peter, you've hammered Starfield again this week. Remind me, Peter, have you finished it? Or did you start again this week? As you're waiting for Black Friday deals, are you waiting for anything in particular? Wait, no good indie games? I couldn't recommend any. Baz, what haven't I recommended? Xbox indie games I can't recommend, apart from Hades, you know. There's got to be loads of stuff on Game Pass that's worth playing though. You're on Game Plus 3 at the moment, so that counts as starting again, doesn't it? Can't help yourself, can you, Peter? I still haven't got through the first playthrough yet, but I do still really intend to very soon, alongside so many other games. Oh no, I've not done Cyberpunk. Oh no, I've not done Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh no, I've not started Remnant 2. Oh, I want to play Age of Wonders all the way through. And then we're coming into VR season, so I want to play all of them as well. Well, I might start Starfield again, actually. It might have been a terrible mistake putting it on hard mode, because somebody told me, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said that means you level up way slower. I don't want to level up slower. I want to smite and explode everyone. So, you're waiting for a white Christmas, hoping everyone bought you something on Black Friday. Is that controversial? Or you're hoping that everybody bought you something controversial? Baz, Robocop, Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4 and Phantom Liberty. That's your current, that's what you're hoping to pick up on Black Friday. Obviously, Robocop and Alan Wake 2 are very, very recent releases, so they won't get steep discounts. But you might get a little something on there, I suppose. They've already had their day one sales and stuff. Resident Evil 4, Capcom are quite good with giving discounts. Phantom Liberty. I can definitely see the base Cyberpunk being real cheap. How much they'll knock off the expansion, I don't know. Peter, it's your first Bethesda real RPG. Are you tempted to go back and try some of the other ones now that you know the format? Or are you only enjoying this one because it's in space? You're back from the microwave. You're welcome. I'm very good with recommendations and suggestions on how to heat up soup. Starfield got an optimization boost. So it's had, on the PC side, the Steam version has a beta branch where you can use DLSS, and it's had a pass of general optimization, particularly on the Nvidia side of things. That's not available on the Game Pass version or the base version on Steam. And as far as I know, I don't think it's had a significant pass on console yet either. Your cat isn't here. Your cat will be. But yes, the patch that's being tested on the PC on the Steam side of things does include all the HDR controls as well as performance. So I'm looking forward to that. Space Dinners, and you can't wait to play Resident Evil 4 Remake VR. Me too. I saw a really brief clip of the Resident Evil 3 remake, the PC mod being played, and it happened to be one of the scenes where the what's his face, the Nemesis thing was chasing. And I thought, yeah, that looks like a really good mod. So that's also on my list. I've got to play all of them. Resident Evil 2 and 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. On a mix of mods and native. So no, Tony, don't say that. No goblins for you. You love the Tolkien books, but sword and sorcery games are not for you unless they have a real twist. But Skyrim is Bethesda's, unless you want to go to the older ones. If you just talk about them from an IP point of view, so Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield, Elder Scrolls is their best. Skyrim is better than Fallout 4. And I'd place Starfield in between those. A lot of people love the Fallout games, but Skyrim for me all day. All day, every day out of those 3 games. Despite being the oldest of the bunch. Resident Evil 3 is legit and 2 is the best. You talking specifically though the VR mods? I'm sure you are, Space Denizen, because that's how you play, isn't it? I've played 2 and 3 Pancake. Right. I played the remakes. I streamed them in their entirety. They're probably still on the channel somewhere actually, but VR is obviously a completely different experience. That will take a lot longer and be a lot harder, and I'm gonna die. You'd play Elder Scrolls if it wasn't fantasy. Well, that's Starfield for you then. You just play your Starfield. Fallout was fun for a while, but in the end it left you cold. Oh, so this isn't your first Bethesda RPG then? Because you have played Fallout for a while, which is also a real one. Remember Zero? Oh, Resident Evil Zero was awful. And also too difficult for me. I do remember it. I got to a puzzle. I couldn't open the door to progress any further, and I was having a terrible time. And regretted starting from zero. You'd love a Dino Crisis remake. Also in VR? Yes, Baz. A lot of people call for a Dino Crisis remake, and you might get one, because now that 4 is done and dusted, no one really wants 5 very much. Code Veronica has a bit more of a fan base. So, you know, Dino Crisis is probably, like, if they were to poll their audience, probably the most popular choice. You didn't invest in it, is what you should have said. It's alright, Pizza, you're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. Pixel, to be fair, Morrowind will never be bettered for its time. It will never be better for its time, no disrespect to Bethesda. Yeah, that's why I kind of caveated it and said, well, talking about series, because if you start pitting Elder Scrolls games against Elder Scrolls games, then opinions diverge a bit more. And I've never played Morrowind. And I didn't finish Oblivion. Well, I did finish Oblivion, but I didn't finish the content. It killed 2 of my Xboxes. So Oblivion is still on my to-do list to do the DLC. I haven't finished. To be fair, I'm a massive fraud. I've never finished Skyrim. I've played Skyrim a lot, but I just run around in VR causing chaos. So I've got a long way to go, and I'm still being surprised every time I actually progress the game forwards, because it's not what I typically do. But I love Skyrim. Baz, you bought a Nintendo GameCube just for Resident Evil 0. So back in the Nintendo GameCube days, where that was like the proper style for a Resident Evil game, was Resident Evil 0 good? Do you have fond memories? Were you pleased that you bought a GameCube and played Resident Evil 0? Because obviously you judge it in a very different light if you play it in 2022 or whenever I played it. Replicant, you only played about an hour of Skyrim. Why, sir? You have a Quest 3 now, you have a good PC, you can get yourself onto Nexus Mod Manager, which we're also going to talk about a bit later, and you can make Skyrim the best VR game that you own and play it forever. Do it. You'll play for more than an hour that way. Space Denizen, you played Resident Evil 0 on GameCube at launch. It was the 3rd Resident Evil you played, and by far the worst. Okay, so it was just a bad Resident Evil game, rather than just that format not aging very well. Because I played Resident Evil 2, I played when it came out by accident. I went looking for it the day that it came out. I had the Sega Saturn version I was looking for. And the first shop I looked in didn't have it, it was sold out. And the second shop I looked in didn't have it, it was sold out. I wasn't looking to buy it, I was just exploring, because I used to have to walk through town on my way home from detention every single day. And then when I found it in the 3rd shop, I was like, oh shit, I found it. So I bought it. Look at the size of my hand. You mean relative to the desk? It's exactly right. If I were to move those little switches around, they'd be a little bit delicate. But why are we sad, Ola? Big sad, because your cat's not around. Yeah, so I bought Resident Evil 2, and that was the first Resident Evil that I played. I didn't play Resident Evil 1, which had my namesake in it. It had a character called Asa who dies on a staircase or something. Played Resident Evil 2, played 3. Don't think I played 4, but I played Code Veronica on the Dreamcast. Problem with Dreamcast, their memory cards were tied to PSO on the console. I had 8 memory cards for the Dreamcast. And they were 20 quid. But back then that made them horrifically overpriced. Today 20 quid for storage doesn't sound bad, but back then That's expensive because they had the little screens and buttons and all that shit. They're VMUs, and I had 8 of them. Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, Dave. I'm just going to keep my hands out of sight because at the moment, most people believe that this background and desk is real, and that I'm actually here. So I don't want like camera angles to blow the illusion. You've still got about 5 official and a few duds. So I don't have my own Dreamcast. I have a different Dreamcast I inherited. It's got a couple of VMUs that I've not actually tested to see if those work or not. Right hand could crush the top of the car. Well, yeah. Yeah. You played a dodgy Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation before it came out. It was Chinese Biohazard. So was it like the official Resident Evil 2, but you had the Chinese version of it? You need code. Get some, Tony. You can do it. I believe in you. We've not started topics yet. I don't know why we're suddenly talking about Resident Evil, but I'm glad that we are. So, what's the first topic? You couldn't understand it. I've played plenty of games I couldn't understand. Because when the Saturn died and disappeared, Shining Force 3 hadn't been finished. It was a 3-part game. A game released as a trilogy, and in the UK we only got one version of it. We got Scenario 1. If you wanted to play 2 and 3, then Japanese was the only way. And I figured, as I've now found a handy importer of weird Japanese games, I'll get a couple more as well. Played some complete nonsense that I had no idea what was going on. So, it was alright. I can't say that I found any like hidden gems that way though. I got complete nonsense games that weren't released over here for good reason. Right, let's do Tony. The Steam Deck UI is super responsive. You love updates. Is this your OG Steam Deck though? You haven't gone and bought the OLED one? No, because that only went for pre-order today, so you wouldn't have it yet. Pixel Slapper, you're sorry. Nope, it's good. I like that. Resident Evil playing on a PlayStation 1 was a journey, trying to not use typewriting tape. Oh yeah. Yeah, because it tracked how many times you'd saved, didn't it? Tried to make you feel bad about it. Top Cat, nope. BG has RE Voobs. BG, which I'm assuming is not Broken Games, it's the game Baldur's Gate, has Resident Evil Voobs, which I'm assuming is a typo, and you meant to say pubes. So Baldur's Gate has Resident Evil pubes. I regret that I'm not on Top Chat because that's just very confusing. Played Parasite Evil in Chinese as well. Tony, you were giving a free Steam Deck OLED. Now you need to simp for it all day on Twitter. Do it, Tony. The background has Resident Evil vibes, you butt. Oh, okay. Okay, that all makes sense. Somebody guessed Resident Evil right at the start. May have been you. I didn't think it was. But no, it is not a Resident Evil background. So, I don't know. Topics. Let's talk about the Game Awards first. That's why we're talking Resident Evil. No, we're talking Resident Evil because it came up around the VR discussion for some reason or other. I don't know how it came up. It did, and we have to accept it and go with it. Everything's nice. So, the Game Awards. Does anyone have strong feelings about those? I'm talking about the Keelys here. That's caused people to talk in ways that aren't necessarily interesting. But does anyone have strong feelings about the Game Awards? Because I'm not going to bring up the nominations and categories right now, because I don't want to go over them one by one, because they're not super interesting in that sense. But will Jeff have skinny jeans pants? You're curious. He definitely needs to, like, I get that people that are there in person watching it live are going to see his legs, but he needs to situate the cameras so that we don't have to see his legs. Yeah. He will do the skinny and the clown shoes. He just always does. He won't have short shorts, no. But Hogwarts should be in there instead of Resident Evil 4. So this is the main game of the year category that you're talking about, I'm assuming. So the biggest award, the game of the year one, had Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2. That's it. I can't remember any other games. What other games did it have in it? This is all going to be like, oh yeah, of course, I knew that as soon as people say them. There's 6 of them, but I know them all, and they're all sequels. Resident Evil 4 Remake was one of them. Sitting behind the desk would be a fine idea, Pixel Slapper, if he wants to improve the quality of the show. Spider-Man 2 was in there, Mario Wonder was in there, and Tears of the Kingdom was in there. So that's all 6 of them mentioned, isn't it? So all established, known IPs. No Starfield, no that thing that you said, Harry Potter, no Remnant 2, no Street Fighter 6. There's loads of games that could potentially have been nominated. Dion, Hogwarts should have been nominated for Game of the Year. Should it? Should it, Dion? Was it actually that good? I remember like a positive-ish reception for it. Obviously all of this controversy around it as well, which is presumably why it's being talked about. People think that it's been shunned from the awards for that reason, and given that it hasn't been nominated in any category at all, there's probably some truth to that. But I haven't played it, so I couldn't possibly sit here and tell you that it deserves a spot in that top 6. Who has played it? Dave Mack says it was fire, so presumably has, and Dion thinks that it should have been in there. Has anyone played the game and thinks actually it's fair enough that it didn't get nominated? Or does everyone that's played it think it was brilliant? Evening, Joe. We're talking Hogwarts at the moment. As you spent a fair bit of time on Mario Wonder, and it's surprising how good it is. I would quite like to play that, but I'm not in a hurry. Pixel Slapper, you'd invite Prince Charles, tell him he's king. What? It's a good idea. What, to the Game Awards? To this show? Where are we inviting Prince Charles? King Charles. Dave Mack, you do not like Harry Potter, but that game was amazing. See, I don't like Harry Potter, which is why I never bothered to play the game. Joe thinks it might have been Game of the Year as well. Yeah. Fair enough. Maybe I should give it a go. Maybe I should give it a go. I don't know. And Tom, you think out of the nominees, Resident Evil 4 is the winner for you, as you haven't played the others. So outside of that restriction, so outside of the nominees, if you were just choosing out of all of the games, Tom, what would be your Game of the Year then? Isn't Mario only 40 quid? I don't know. I hope so, Peter. But I don't know. Harry Potter was definitely your wife's Game of the Year. Does your wife play many games though, or did she only get into games because she likes Harry Potter? Dave, it would look unreal on a 4090. I'm sure it would look nice enough. And I've heard that the combat is surprisingly fun, as like a ranged take on the Arkham formula. But the world sucks. Nominees were bullshit. What would you put in there that wasn't in there? Episode 13? GoldenEye with Mario characters is great. Take your word for that one, Tony. I think Mario characters are stupid shapes, and they wouldn't work with the headshot mechanics of GoldenEye. The biggest issue with the awards is City Skyline 2 getting a nomination. Yeah, I've heard people complaining about that. Because the game's supposed to be a bit of a technical disaster in its launch state, which is it's a very recent launch, so they haven't fixed any of that yet as far as I know. But it is in the strategy category, isn't it? I got a shout out on ACG's podcast this week. I have listened back to it, Joe, so I did hear talking about the treadmill, right? That's nice that they're aware I exist. Also, ACG mentioned the voice trouble that I had on Diablo yesterday. So he had stopped by, but because the stream was such a disaster, he just checked out. But that's, again, nice that he came to see what was going on. Halo didn't get nominated for Best Ongoing Game. The Game Awards are biased. I'm not sure if these extra categories are biased or if they just got a bunch of journalists that don't have a clue. Voice trouble, yeah, I had trouble with the sound on Diablo yesterday, so I had to stop it and start it and fix it. because the NPC voices were all demonic. Ignorant, yeah, like City Skylines being in there, and like Age of Wonders is one that ACG was saying is brilliant, not being nominated at all. Generally, I think most of the journalists that they're polling and talking to are console gamers or something and haven't actually played many of this year's strategy games. So it definitely feels skewed, and it feels like knowledge is pulled in certain categories and areas. But so Tom, you're on the Remnant 2 wagon. I've heard a lot of people say that Remnant 2 would be up there as their game of the year, or should at least be nominated. Sea of Thieves, great example. I bet there's loads of live service games that have put in a ton of work that would make more sense than Cyberpunk. So, and Destiny getting in there as well, when I don't think they've done a lot this year. But Pixel, you can't blame people nominators for enjoying all they play. Simple facts, it's their choice. Episode 13, you don't like Jeff Keighley much. You think he hijacked certain shows, plus you feel he's definitely hijacked shows. He's definitely I dislike him because when he launched the Summer Game Fest stuff, he just started pretending that everything that was going on over a summer. He laughed when he called me Asa. Lots of people do. That's how most people initially tackle my name. Yeah, I didn't like the way that he hijacked all of these award shows that were nothing to do with his and claimed them as part of Summer Game Fest and messed us up, because we were covering the various events and we followed his timetable, believing him that these events were anything to do with him, but he had most of the times wrong. So we kept like turning up to cover a live show and then being like, oh, it started an hour ago. Thanks, Jeff. Stuff like that. You quite like Jeff. It's not like a personal hate. He's just hustling very hard to get his show going. What? Sit up straight. Tony, this chair hurts my ass so bad. Jeff Grubb is with a J. And yes. Yes, he is good. You heard he drinks his own piss. Maybe true, maybe not. Wait, who did what? But let's talk about the awards though, because the thing that really stands out across all of the categories, and I kind of say this every year, is that the categories don't make any sense. Who said my name wrong? Almost everyone says my name wrong. I'm assuming you were talking about Karak, ACG. So, yes, episode 13, that sounds like the kind of thing that Gaz would say. I just look at it more like the categories that it's got. So you start with the big one. The Game of the Year award is really poorly defined. So you've got a panel of like 120 people or whatever that are selecting the Game of the Year, but none of them can tell you what that means, like what they're supposed to be looking for, what makes a game qualify as Game of the Year. Is it just the game that got cumulatively the highest, or the highest review score on aggregate? Should that be Game of the Year? Is that the kind of quality that you're looking for? Reviews being such a messy minefield in the first place makes it difficult. But like, what do you value? Do you value innovation? Because every game that's in the awards this year is a sequel and can't really claim a whole heap of innovation. But would you stack that? Is it popularity? Is it like general reception? Because Half-Life Alyx didn't get in Game of the Year in the year that came out, and that was innovative, polished, big, well scoped, like hell of a game. So what is the Game of the Year according to the Game Awards? And there's not like a right or wrong answer, but there is a need to define it. And then you take that theory and you look at every other category, and it's like, holy shit, none of these are remotely defined. Which is why you have Best RPG, Lies of P this year. And Best Strategy Game, the only strategy games that we can think of. They even had one of the awards that they had this year was Best Esports Coach. So trying to get in on the esports scene. And one of the people that was nominated for Best Esports Coach of the Year responded to say, thanks, but I haven't coached anyone this year, and I don't know why I've been nominated. Like, what kind of a state are these awards in when they don't And that's how City Skylines got in. Same way as this guy that was like, I'm not a coach. I don't know why I've been nominated. City Skylines is there like, I'm not a polished game. I don't know why I've been nominated. And it's not their fault. The awards is just like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Are there any other standouts in there that you've looked at? Like we had Sifu as the best fighting game nominee last year as well. Weird examples like that. As well as the whole debacle around Forza Horizon. The way they handled Forza Horizon versus the way they handled God of War Ragnarok. Forza Horizon not being nominated for anything because it came out too late. And God of War being nominated for everything because it came out too late, but they changed all the deadlines to benefit it. Right. Lots of nonsense in there. The problem is the voting is skewed against sites like IGN and clowns like that. Well, there's definitely something up with it, but Pixel, you keep telling Jason that you want Galleon on backwards compatible choices you nominate every year. What's Galleon? I've not heard of that one. I also want it for your sake. And you're talking Jason Ronald, I'm assuming. So you keep telling Jason Ronald you want Galleon, but they're not adding back compat games anymore, are they? Still, keep going. You meant the voting is weighted for bigger sites. Yeah, I'm sure it is that, but I mean, to fix the Game Awards for me, step one, delay it. I get that it's a big marketing event and they want all the ad revenue and all the rest of it, but to have an actual respectable, like industries recognized Game Awards, it needs to take place in like February or March, when all the games are actually out and when people have had time to go through them. That's step one. Step two is to properly define the categories, like whatever they may be and whatever ends up when the dust settles, they just need to be really well defined. So that you don't get shit like this happening, so that people understand it. And step three is to really sort out the process of nominations and judgment. The way that games are nominated, I don't actually know what it is at the moment, but maybe it's okay. Maybe you go through this nomination phase and you get these candidates. Judging by the fact that the results are terrible, I'd say it's not okay. But theoretically, you have a nomination phase and then you should have an established panel that commits to playing all of the games that have been nominated for a particular category and judging it from there. So there should be like a team of, I don't know, 10, 20 people at the moment who commit to playing the 6 games that were nominated by February next year and actually select a game of the year amongst those. And the same should apply for every category. Different panels of people, because you can't expect someone to play everything in that time frame. Different panels of people to go through the nominees, play them properly, and award it on a defined merit. So 3 steps, proper game awards that the industry should recognize. But that doesn't make the money, so we're not going to get it. That's my theory though. What about, I don't know, am I wrong? Is there anything about that needs shifting or anything that's too extreme? So Tom, you reckon the process is the problem? Asking mainstream game journalists what the best strategy game is when they might not play those games is daft, and that's how you get City Skylines to. Yeah, exactly. They've heard of it. I'm always right. I'm definitely not always right, episode 13. And I definitely wouldn't, I don't envy the task of trying to arrange this thing. You don't really care about who wins, but the trailers can be fun. Exactly, Replicant. So these award structure that I'm talking about would die on its ass because it was the wrong time of year with the wrong kind of money pouring into it. So it wouldn't work out in that regard. You need to do it in December with these trailers and marketing deals to get the flow of money to put the event on in the first place. Which is not an enviable challenge. Painful Discourse remake remaster category for sure, and Armored Core 6 snubbed for OST. Spidey OST is forgettable, and yeah, the Spider-Man OST is not like bad by any stretch, but it definitely wouldn't be nominated for Game of the Year for me, or for Soundtrack of the Year for me. Games can have wonderful soundtracks, and I constantly hear people referring to Octopath Traveler 2 soundtrack and Final Fantasy 16s as being like peak soundtracks this year. Baldur's Gate 3 has a very good soundtrack. Spider-Man's, I've been listening to quite a lot of them to get backing tracks for the review that I did, and it's fine and competent. Like, they've got a good theme, but there's not much in that OST. I don't know why it was awarded or nominated for soundtrack, besides being a big cinematic polished game or whatever. The awards just seem broken. They do, don't they? Game Antonio, you thank Jeff Keighley every year. Thank you for the trailers. What are we doing? What? Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future, great soundtrack. Yeah, I don't think either of those would be particularly eligible for Game of the Year awards this year. Episode 13, very distinct signature tracks. I'm with you on that, but not very current. Octo 2 got nothing at the Game Awards. I have it quite high on my list of things that I want to play though, Painful Discourse, so that counts for something. Tom, give busy people an extra task they aren't passionate about in their inbox. They'll just quickly nominate out so they can get on with their work. Yeah, plus we know fully that the people that are being polled and respected and given the opportunity to nominate things are, at the very least, includes like influencers and shills. So that already corrupts the pool of nominations in the first place. Difficult problem to avoid, but as soon as you hear that, you know there are people in there that are easily bought and paid for participating in nominations. Is like, really? That doesn't seem like a good idea. No names mentioned, eh? No names mentioned, but Peter, the problem is you used to be able to put some faith in reviews. Now you put zero faith in them. Why not, Peter? There must be some people that you can trust with reviews and things. Like, what's gone wrong? Why are reviews falling apart in your eyes? Because it's like it's a shared sentiment that a lot of people say, but in what made reviews better back then? Obviously, it was like the age of the internet means that anybody can do it, but typically that's not what people are complaining about when they complain about reviews. They care about like establishments like IGN, which should be a closer parallel to the reviews that we had in the 80s and 90s or whatever. Why do we not trust their reviews in the way that we used to back then? I used to read things like you're talking about the Sega Saturn magazine. I used to read the official ones, and they were essentially sponsored content, right? They were going to say that every game on the Saturn was brilliant, and I loved it. That's what I wanted to hear. Yes, this game's going to be brilliant. I'm hyped. Back in the day, game reviewers were genuine fans. Now it's a job. There must still be fans though, right? Like, it's not a really well-paying job. Reviews are difficult content in terms of like, if you are being driven by publishers, they're not the most baity things, and they take a lot of time. The investment in time per minute of content or whatever, or per piece of content, is not favorable for reviews. But that doesn't appear to be what's going wrong though. That's just an observation of something that's challenging. IGN seems to do bad reviews for clicks to stand out. Well, there's part of it, isn't it? Episode 13. I don't think IGN are necessarily more guilty of this than a lot of other people, but trying to stand out on the internet can definitely influence some of the scores that we see. Sega Saturn magazine by Sega was the best of publications at 14 years old. Yeah, different times, eh? But so, Eurogamer now uses that tactic all the time. They've changed, haven't they? Eurogamer was like 5 years ago, maybe even as recent as 5 years ago. They were a real kind of go-to for integrity, and I don't go there anymore. And that's not to say that any one of them in particular has shit the bed or that they're doing anything wrong, but something's happened. I'm assuming they're not the same people as they used to be. Are there any... So obviously everybody loves ACG as a reviewer, everybody loves me as a reviewer. We've got us two as like beacons, and Gene Park. Everybody loves Gene Park, so, you know, three tall pillars of reviewing standards. But are there any, like, what's the word? You know, proper media that you still trust? Websites and publications that are less independent than the likes of me and ACG. that you would still trust. You can talk about games, but you couldn't review. Do you know? ACG has more hats? What do you mean? What do you mean hats? Nearly every fucker, including all the big companies, are all clickbait whores. Yeah, the need for clicks is sad and has definitely done harm. Where have the standards gone? Eiley, you never trusted anyone. Oh, that hurts. I'm not doing any more reviews. I thought they meant something. Baz, you used to spend shitloads on gaming magazines because there wasn't much gaming info. Yeah, and this is still true today. The need to feed on gaming information is almost a separate hobby to gaming. Like, you can spend an awful lot of time scouring the world to find gaming news and hype and excitement, almost entirely independent of actually playing games. I asked about big media. That yeah, I did. That's true. TJI, instead of going at the companies for low quality, people need to stop clicking the console war articles. Eurogamer wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't bringing in money. That's true. It is, like, there is an audience for it. Welcome, by the way. I'm not sure I've seen your name in there before, but it's weird as well because everyone's very quick to distrust the likes of GameSpot and IGN and all the rest of it because they're all like biased and all the rest of it, but then they do trust influencers and like independents who sometimes you can trust them and sometimes they're just like the big publications but with a lower price point. So it's tricky. Shout out more names for me that you do trust though, be it big publications or independent ones. So besides ACG, besides Gene Park, Skill Up, that's a name that comes up quite often, isn't it? Does anybody else have any besides those that you like to go to and trust? I think you're right, you spend too much time reading and watching reviews. That's fun though. Influencers are the worst, especially Xbox ones. Well, in what sense? In regards to like how you'd get your feedback on whether a game is good or bad? It just got spooky in here. You mean the music? Peter, that's true. You found yourself guilty of searching for game news as much as playing, and you recently decided to drop out of that and relax going forwards. Yeah. Xbox has a great community, says episode 13. I'm just gonna smile. So, in what sense, Tom, are the Xbox influencers the worst? What have they done to us to upset you? What have they tried to push as being good or whatever else is the problem here? Is it Castlevania again? No. It is a repeat though. Because I was lazy. Smiling is allowed. Smiling, yes, is encouraged. Worth a Buy is a good channel for PC gaming. I've heard, I think you might have mentioned them before. I've not seen their content, but I believe you. Nobody's bullying anyone. So TJ, have you noticed that Xbox fanboys have gotten a bit worse? They're becoming more conspiracy focused and engaging in a lot more console war rubbish. It's sad to see. I find in the fanboy conversation who's better and who's worse. I really don't find one side worse than the other, except whoever's most smug in any given phase of console war is the most annoying. Because smugness is just one of the like least appealing human traits, especially like undeserved smugness. If someone's really good at something and they're a bit smug about it, you can accept that because they've earned it because they're really like good at something. But if someone's like a supporter of a sports team and that sports team is playing well and they're really smug about it, then you just want to punch them in the face, because that undue smugness is just a unattractive quality. And in console warring, the cycle of which fan base is more annoying is very much the same. Whichever one thinks they're on top and gets all smug, they're the ones that you want to punch in the face. So in that sense, TJI, I'd say Xbox fans are worse at the moment. Because they are smug ones right now. And that will cycle around again, and then the PlayStation ones will be more annoying. but let you rephrase. There's been some Xbox content creators that you used to like and watch that were neutral but liked Xbox, but now it's literally attacking Sony and supporting everything Xbox. I know of a few examples that have followed that pattern. Yeah. Yeah, that is true, but you have no strong feelings one way or the other about what? The fan groups. Me neither. Replicant, you don't think there is much PC-focused gaming channels or podcasts? They must exist. I think on the PC side, though, you also get a lot more like communities that are really dedicated to one singular game. And that must exist on the console space as well, especially as most of the games that I'm talking about are multi-platform. But you'll get like a whole podcast that's focused on Diablo. And that's a community in itself that manages to put the amount of care and attention and time into it that like an equivalent, I don't know, console or whatever else community does. People get real into a particular game, which is cool. I am happy for them as well. That's just as valid as any other. So Pancake games, well, then you've got VR communities. Apparently episode 13, I've never really touched it, I don't want to dabble in it, but VR chat has the best player retention of pretty much anything ever. Over half of its player base have played it for 1,000 hours or more, something ridiculous like that. Sticky VR games, although VR chat can be played Pancake, so it doesn't really count. I'm just making, I don't know, no kind of point there really. Certain people have decided that Xbox is a niche market and that can gain more subs in. TJI, are you a VR person? You'd love VR chat. You see, you mentioning Knuckles episode 13 means that you have heard me mention it before. I don't think Knuckles is a big thing in VR chat anymore. I think that was a good few years ago, but TJI, I haven't played it yet. I have it downloaded now. I might play a little bit today, if this show finishes on time. If not, I'll try and have a go at it sometime tomorrow. But I do have it to play. The trouble that I have with that game is I've got a Quest Pro, and I don't know if Quest Pro has received any love or if I'm going to be playing the Quest 2 version on it, because it's supposed to look pretty good on the Quest 3. Quest Pro sits awkwardly between them. Its hardware is like more akin to the Quest 2, except that it is a bit faster and it has foveated rendering available and all the rest of it. But it gets pretty much ignored. I notice you, and I'm glad you have your cat friend again. Good. Not seen any weird VR stuff for ages. Episode 13, that's not because I haven't been touching it though, it's because I haven't streamed it very much. I might stream Assassin's Creed. First world problems. Yeah, but Pixel Slapper, it's a significant problem for me because I was thinking maybe I'll review this game. But if the native footage isn't as good on my headset, then it's not going to look right. Like, even more so, it's not going to look right when I put it onto a Pancake video. I don't know. I'll try it. I'll see what it looks like. TJI, what VR hardware have you got? Are you planning to play this, or are you just curious about this game because you've heard that it releases today? Replicant, you're interested in knowing how the Creed game is. Assassin's Creed or Creed the boxing game? Because if you're saying Creed to avoid the usual AC shenanigans, where we name as many AC games as we can, I'd prefer that you go with AC so we can play that game. Assassin's okay. I will let you know, but I'm not an Assassin's Creed person. You accidentally threw your phone. I was going to say why, but if it was an accident, it was an accident. That's funny because you were just saying like yesterday how long you've had this phone without breaking it. Hopefully it is still alright. So the Game Awards was only one of the topics that I had in mind. Landed on your plate. That probably was loud then. You've got a Quest 3, you started getting into VR games recently. It's such a cool tech, surreal experience. Thinking of Assassin's Creed VR and Asgard. So do you have a PC to pair it with, or are you playing strictly native games? You know this OST. You may well know this OST. Was that a topic? I don't know, Pixel Slapper. I never know. The Game Awards thing was a topic that I had in mind. Topics that I had in mind were how to fix Game Awards, which I've mentioned, or my theory on what would make it recognizable. I do have a question for you on that though as well. So, like, the Game Awards has successfully ousted every other nomination or every other award show or ceremony as being like the main one that people notice and talk about. But are there any others, like Golden Joysticks, BAFTAs, things like that, any other award shows that you would consider more valid or would recognize more so than the Game Awards? Any that stand out as more legitimate to any of you? Is it Luigi's Mansion? No Luigi's Mansion. So is it really too much of a problem though, Baz? Most hate game journalists anyway. The credit is there if you look a layer deeper and listen to gamers. Should change over time, hopefully in your lifetime. I'm trying to catch up on what's been suggested. What's the problem that we're trying to fix? Is it still about journalists? Tom, influencers may well be easier to influence from a big company too, as they're just one person. That's what I mean when I say they're the same but with a lower price. That's why I have like self-imposed policies on myself so that I can never be corrupted. Time will tell, but I reckon I'm safe. You're tempted to get a Rogue Asus Ally for £500 at the minute. You're just looking in. So Baz, ACG, who I would trust more than most around the hardware, is a big fan of the Legion Go as the best handheld device. So check into that first. I would say. I've never touched any of them and I probably never will, so don't take my word for it. But he says that's the best of them. Let's do Game Award topics. There's a good bit to talk about. You think Game Award joysticks needs more? The golden joysticks. But do they need marketing though? Because if developers around the industry already kind of recognize that one, then it's serving its purpose. It's more for them than it is for us, right? They need to invite more influencers like ACG, Matty Plays, and get better production. There's always that risk though, if they start chasing that, if they start trying to be a bigger event with more marketing and all the rest of it, then they lose that focus and integrity, or lose what they are, become the Game Awards. So no, Golden Joystick seems to be reasonably well respected by people that are involved in it, which is an important thing. So it's great being acknowledged. You've got a merit. Good. Peter, anyone here old enough to remember Newsfield publications? The reviewers could, to some degree, make or break games, but they were very much trusted by the public at the time. Is there any equivalent in other industries where reviews are really important, in like film, TV, music, books? ACG isn't big on the ROG. Yeah, but that's not based on his hands-on with it, right? ACG, Karak rejected the ROG because he didn't like the way the company was approaching the freebies. He didn't like it because they were insisting on like positive tweets and things like that to give it for free to an influencer. So when things get shady like that, he cuts it off and steers clear, which is why you can trust him more than most others. As you are on the go and you'd love to play your Xbox games anywhere, yeah. Yes, you can play the Xbox games on it. I think with that one, with the Legion, you've got Windows on it, so you can play the native games as well as do the cloud streaming. And Geforce now if you prefer to play in a nice high quality. TJ, you want to do more Game Award topics? What about the Game Awards did we miss so far? Because I'm happy for back and forth and to loop around it. You're sure that Baldur's Gate 3 would be announced for Xbox at the Game Awards months ago. Now you're nearly 70% sure it will be announced as Game Pass as well. You're not sure it'll be on PC Game Pass as well. It's an interesting one because it's probably not going to be that expensive for Microsoft to get on Game Pass. It will make a decent splash in terms of, like, wow, it's the game of the year and it's on this service. It won't make a huge splash in terms of like lost sales and things, because I don't think there's any expectation that the game is going to sell bunches on the Xbox, and it's already had its window of selling on the PC. So I can definitely see it as a possible for ending up on Game Pass and being reasonably priced, sensible, like a sensible entry from Microsoft, but that definitely doesn't guarantee it, because it is going to win Game of the Year. It is going to make a big marketing splash. It shouldn't be that cheap. Probably not as cheap as if they had tried to get it when it first came away from Stadia. It depends, because obviously, like, if there's the opportunity to put it on a subscription service, then Microsoft wouldn't necessarily be the only ones interested, but I don't know, Sony don't typically go AAA third-party stuff on there in that kind of time frame, do they? So there are physical Baldur's Gate 3 discs coming out for PlayStation 5. 2 discs on the PlayStation 5 and 3 discs on the Xbox. Why is it? That's curious. I didn't know that. Is that because, though, do you reckon like the PlayStation 5 is compressing things better, or do you reckon because it's such a limited edition to have it on disc and they wanted to actually play on disc on Xbox, you're getting a Series S and a Series X version? Ultra high definition on the yeah, well, I'm sure in terms of resolution and stuff they'll be comparable, won't they? Like the Xbox version isn't gonna slack, but if you want to deliver a game physically on Xbox and you want to support both series consoles literally offline, so it's playable offline, then you need to have 2, right? Replicant, you changed your mind. You want Alan Wake 2 to win Game of the Year. Have you played Baldur's Gate 3? I'm assuming you're in love with Alan Wake 2 at the moment, and I'm not dismissing your opinion. I'm just curious if you're making that direct comparison or not. How do multiple discs work on console? So on consoles, Isla, you never play directly from the disc. It's always installed to the drive. So multiple discs, you just install them before you start. You just need to make sure that the appropriate disc 1 most likely, is in the drive at the point that you try and play it, so that it can check that you do own it. So install the whole thing as if you downloaded it, and you just stick the disc in as a key. Not finished Baldur's Gate 3, you're on Act 1. Act 1 can take a very long time if you want it to. But Alan Wake 2 is that good, huh? Digital sales are like free air. Costs nothing to them. Recycling should be left in the desert mentality. It's going to win. Shh. I still... like, if this physical edition of Baldur's Gate 3 is actually literally playable offline, like you don't need your console to be connected in order to go through the installation process, it's nice that still exists. I still value that. Not personally, I've got no interest in having discs, but I understand the people that do. So, and if that is the reason for 3 discs, so that they can give 2 versions of the game, so be it. You used to have games where you had to switch to the next disc. Yes, Isla, we are mostly older than you. We've all played games that had multiple discs as well, on PC and on console. Odd Twitter behaviour. Odd Twitter behaviour. Oh, wait, I missed a comment. So you saw some grown men flexing over the PlayStation 5 being on 2 discs while poor Xbox gamers were getting 3. I've seen people try and flex on which one has better compression and smaller file sizes over the last 3 years as well. Weird people, weird people. You're right, odd Twitter behaviour. No bully, no. Absolutely, none of that. He wasn't bragging, he just felt nostalgic. Well, cool. Good. I've been weirdly tempted to play Final Fantasy VIII lately, as an example of game with multiple discs. Because I didn't like Final Fantasy VIII very much at the time, specifically because of what happens between discs 2 and 3, and I was wondering if playing through Final Fantasy VIII, now that it's a download and you don't have to change discs anymore, am I going to recognise the point where the story fell off in the same way? It used to be marked with a disc change. And now I'm going to be like, this bit makes no sense. This must have been where the disc change used to be. I reckon. Going to do that. I'm going to play it. It's next on the list. So will Grand Theft Auto 6 be revealed at the Game Awards? I hope not. They've already said that it's definitely being revealed in December. The time frame window aligns. It would be very, very good for the Game Awards to get it. But Rockstar obviously don't need it. Like the teaser, the announcement of the announcement was like the most viewed gaming news all year by some distance, I think. Just them saying we're going to talk about it. So they don't need a platform, they are a platform. But it would be a big get for old Jeff if he does get it there. Pixel Slapper, you got over you got over 2,000 games plus the consoles on physical. You're good. I have not got that many games on physical anymore. Oh, on physical, no, you've got those games on the consoles. Yeah, I'm not going to do a count. I also have many, many, many games. Replicant, you don't think it needs to be at the Game Awards, but stranger things have happened. Yeah, it would be a massive get for the Game Awards because it would mean millions more eyes on that show than there would have been otherwise. Like, Grand Theft Auto 6 is bigger than the Game Awards in terms of engagement, viewership, all of those kind of metrics. Do you expect Grand Theft Auto to be groundbreaking graphics-wise, or do you expect something akin to Red Dead Redemption? Huge praise, that game still looks beautiful. I don't know. I expect it to be groundbreaking. So I haven't got through Red Dead Redemption 2 yet, and everything I see of it though is like remarkably consistent and well-established physics and scripting and detail in everything that you can do. And I expect them to bring that to a city environment. Will it look better than everything else on the market? No. It will look better than the other open world games on the market. Although even then you start comparing it to things like Cyberpunk. But Cyberpunk was not, like, it was an open world, but it was lacking depth. Grand Theft Auto won't lack depth. So, I don't know, it's a good question. Because it's harder now in general for games to stand out visually. Just because of diminishing returns and all the rest of it. Pushing tech doesn't necessarily give like a poignant difference that you can instantly, immediately recognize by looking at it. So, good question. No, I don't think the trailers are going to look immediately better than everything else on the market. But I think the things that are better than everything else on the market will reveal themselves in actual gameplay more so. Will it be 30 frames per second? I hope not. Will the PC version launch at the same time? I don't think so. And the market's like slightly different in that PC gaming is big now. It was always big, but it had a different audience and a different selection of games that did well there. But they've always done so well with like the double dipping release on those games because of the size of them. And as recently as the Grand Theft Auto 5 remake, remaster, whatever they called it, they still treat consoles and PC quite differently. So I don't think it will come out at the same time on PC, but I'm happy to be wrong if I'm wrong. It'll break ground monetarily for sure. Yes, it will. My concern for it though is definitely more centered around the online functionality. Because Take-Two aren't a nice publisher, and Grand Theft Auto Online has been massively, hugely overshadowing Grand Theft Auto 5 in every way monetarily. So it's hard to see why they would put much focus on the single player. Like why Take-Two would allow it. Rockstar, sure, they like making games, they'll do it for the art, but they'll be pressured from above to really focus on the monetization. And I don't want to see heaps of that in what used to be the campaign. But I don't know, would they dare? Would they dare to ruin the campaign? No, surely not. Surely we're going to get a proper campaign, right? Right? Only problem, I always want to say Gran Turismo and I can't shake it. Grand Theft Auto 6 has its location. You wonder where. People have been saying Miami, haven't they? But I also heard speculation that this is leaning into the online thing. Speculation that the airport comes into play quite a lot, and you can visit various things, various places that might be seasonal, for example. Maybe it is like siloed off content, like in Grand Theft Auto Online, accessed via the airport. So maybe you have a campaign in the city, but you pay a little bit and you go and get some cosmetics from Japan. I don't know. It'll be based in East Midlands if there's an airport. I don't know. I hope that they don't do anything awful and ruin it, but they'd be foolish to, right? So such a well-established money maker for them. They're not going to rock the apple cart entirely. Surely, maybe, hopefully. Well, that's one theory that I really hope doesn't come to pass, Pixel Slapper. That, yeah, they introduce things on a regular basis and make it a live service game, essentially. The little snippets and leaks and things have implied that there is a proper campaign in there. I remain optimistic that they won't destroy it. Cheapest you found the Legion is 700. Yeah, see what Black Friday brings, indeed. Takes quite a lot for a handheld, isn't it? Peter, you think Rockstar might hold their own for what they want this time around? Maybe it's time for the publisher to bend the knee. That would be nice. I hope so. Introduce these nuts. Good one, Tony. What the fuck? Okay, left arm, Liza P. Not sure what's going on. Let's move on. If anybody wants to say any more about Game Awards and so on, you're very welcome to. You know how it works. I get distracted and go back to whatever people are talking about. Like this, for example, TJI, how important is the right to Grand Theft Auto marketing? We know PlayStation paid hundreds of millions for Call of Duty. We see more or less the same figures. More. I say more. In context, the money for Call of Duty wasn't per Call of Duty, was it? It was for like a 5-10 year window or whatever it was. Grand Theft Auto is a different beast in that sense, but it's more. A singular Grand Theft Auto entry is bigger than multiple. Right? It's bigger than Call of Duty for a period of time. It would be really nice if nobody wasted their money on marketing rights, because we gain very little from that expenditure. But it is valuable, and they will be bidding for it, and I'm sure Take-Two would welcome a little pocket lining for very little in return, really, as far as they're concerned, is it? So we'll see. Puppet string, wait a minute. Oh, I see, you're talking Liza P, loadouts, configurations, RPG mechanics. Replicant, your office is 5 minutes walk from Rockstar on. Well, you can go and ask them then, can't you? Okay, next topic. What are the other topics that I've got listed? Suicide Squad, that's definitely one of them. Yeah, let's do Suicide Squad. I haven't actually watched this yet. Who's seen the latest Suicide Squad gameplay, story, deep dive, hopefully trailer without too many people talking? Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League. Insider one. That's the freaking 20 minutes. People talking and... No, I don't want that. Don't want that. Where's a nice condensed one? PlayStation had one, didn't they? Let's do that. No, it's the same 20-minute presentation. We're going to play it. We're going to play it in small window sound and talk about what's on it. So, has anyone already watched this? It looks... Not that guy. Get off the screen. It looks a lot like it did before. And before... It wasn't all bad. Like various elements of the gameplay, like mobility and combat and shooting and stuff, kind of made some sense. But I still can't get over the shark guy being munitions based. Every character being munitions based and having very similar, broadly similar movement. You're keeping an open mind. I mean, it's Rocksteady and they're phenomenal, but does anyone want this game to be a live service game? Yes, Warner Brothers want it to be a live service game. Does anybody else want this to be a live service game? And it looks like, considering this is Rocksteady, so their legacy as making the Arkham games, they've not just ditched the gameplay style, they've entirely ditched the art style as well, because this looks way more way more Sunset Overdrive than Arkham, not just in gameplay, but everything down to color palette and style. So it's very different to what they've done before. This trailer, I actually think I like this one less than the initial one that everyone hated. The one that got slated and made them delay the game and hold it off for however long they've held it off for, I think appealed to me more than what I've seen of this one so far. Inspector Gadget shooting your head, ha. Peter, you suspect that by now Dan has managed to renegotiate. Dan who? Renegotiate the GTA contract enough times to make sure that Rockstar benefit as much as the publisher from marketing deals. Dan who? Because Dan Houser's gone, right? Yeah, he's not there. So maybe he negotiated fantastic contracts before he left, but Gotham Knights looked more like Arkham. Gotham Knights was dark, but besides that it didn't really look like Arkham. It was dark and it had some like fog clouds around, but it made the city way more generic than it had like ever been before. This one I wouldn't say suffers from a generic city. It's clearly quite different in architecture and vibe. It's just very light and colourful as well. Rockstar don't house him anymore, exactly. I'm not sure, Peter. Not that recent, I don't think. There must be a more condensed play vid on this. Yeah, no, I know Pixel Slapper. I had a brief look. I know the people aren't helping. I can skip it forwards and see if they get more into just showing the game. It's a story and gameplay deep dive, and I don't know, the PlayStation channel was also the same 20-minute story and gameplay deep dive. This is compelling content. What are you talking about? Come on. Both the houses have gone. It's been a couple of years. There you go. It's really difficult to look forward to this, and it's really difficult to look forward to anything that Warner Brothers are ever going to do again, so long as they've got their current leadership that insists that games as a service are the best thing. Here we go. There's people being Green Lantern. Yeah, there's just a lot of developers talking, isn't there? I don't know, this might be one to go back and watch in your own time, I think. Audio off isn't helping with the people talking. Like, obviously I could put audio there, but people talking over, like, and trying to talk over it and stuff, it gets very confusing. What I'll do for you, Pixel Slapper, is I'll get rid of it. And we can deal with it another time. What do you call the houses now that they aren't in-house? The Dan Consultor. Because they might still consult a little bit. External consultants. Terrible surname, but they chose that fate. Pixel Slapper, no worries, no worries. There was enough there to get a little like taste of the direction of it though, right? Don't get me wrong, I'll play it, probably, maybe. Will I? If they want 70 quid for it, it might take a little while until I do play it, but it is Rocksteady, and they are pioneers of the context-sensitive combat that every developer since has used. They are a phenomenal studio. Maybe they can pull it off. But then Crystal Dynamics were a phenomenal studio, and they got told to do games as a service superhero model co-op game. And they couldn't pull it off, really. Greedy publishers destroying fine works. We'll see. This is how sad you are. You spent your 40th completing Batman Arkham Asylum. That's fine. What better stuff is there to do when you turn 40? Don't know. TJI, if the game is between Gotham Knights and Guardians of the Galaxy, it should do well enough to make a potential sequel or keep the studio afloat. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy is incredible though. Like, it got tarnished by what happened with the Avengers. But it was a single player game, actually. Whereas this one is not. This is a co-op battle pass laden mess. So I think hoping for Guardians of the Galaxy level from it is very optimistic at this point. There's a little bit here that I am going to show just because it seems to have been a few seconds of actual gameplay. Showing some of the traversal, which, having just come off the back of playing Spider-Man, doesn't hold up. But if you are able to see clearly, you'll see that all of the characters are kind of going through together. It's trying to keep the four of them together to illustrate differences in the way that they traverse, but essentially they do all still need to move at approximately the same speed, have approximately the same ability, be able to get to the same places and all of that kind of stuff, which is what Avengers had to deal with as well, for better or worse. You feel a bit better. Good, Baz. That's what we're here for. 60 quid on Steam for Suicide Squad, which means it's going to be 70 on console, isn't it? What, Replicant, if you've got Steam open at the moment, what does Mortal Kombat cost? Spent his 40th in an asylum. Very good, very good. Pixel, you'll probably be called an expert for your opinion, but you think the companies that Phil has earmarked are going to get the breathing room. You think that the companies that Phil has earmarked as in acquired, or other companies outside of Xbox right now? And you won't get marked as an expert for that, Pixel Slapper, because that's what everyone hopes, particularly for the likes of Blizzard and the Activision studios. Lots of people want them to be taken off of Call of Duty and all the rest of it. But Blizzard in particular, it's the one thing that I want to come out, that whole acquisition, is that they are less pressured to monetize the shit out of everything, less pressured to deliver on the tight schedules that they've had, less pressured to do whatever made them do Overwatch 2, less pressured to have every kind of transaction available in World of Warcraft, all of that kind of stuff. Not allowed to say. Are you talking about potential acquisitions then, rather than ones that they've already acquired? Because there was talk today, so Embracer had their financial earnings call, and they've pretty much confirmed that they're selling some of their studios, as well as like 900 layoffs, which is shit news. But they've confirmed the high incoming interest in selling some of their studios, which has to be Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, maybe Gearbox. Tony, acquire you to work for me. Tony, I would love to split my YouTube earnings far and wide. That's about 6 quid this month. Your mum's just told you to shut up. Okay. You think that Phil's going to pick up Eidos and Crystal? It would definitely make sense for him to be trying to. It would definitely make sense for him to be trying to. Equally, though, it would make sense for Sony to be trying to as well. It would make sense for EA to be trying to as well. Crystal Dynamics and also Eidos, but Crystal in particular, are freaking phenomenal studios. And yes, they're both working with Xbox at the moment, which might give them the inroads that they need, but then it's going to be whoever wants to pay the most. Which slate am I looking more forwards to? Xbox 24, PC 24, Switch 24, or PlayStation 24? At the moment, Sony haven't said anything interesting yet. So I'm optimistic that they will, but they haven't said anything interesting yet. Nintendo's is going to be a whole new console, so that's inherently interesting because it might open up the entirety of the Switch library for me. But it's got to be... like, Xbox and PC is a difficult distinction because I'm going to say Xbox, but I mean PC. I really am interested in Avowed. Is a standout game. Like Fable's not next year, but there were a few, and my mind's gone completely blank on what Xbox are doing next year. But they had definitely announced more than Sony so far as coming next year. They've got Hellblade, they've got Avowed, I've already said, but I'm going to say it again because I'm really looking forward to Avowed. And some other stuff, right? And they've got to announce, I don't know, stuff they haven't announced is cheating. If I just said that I'm talking about what Sony haven't announced, I don't know. But all of the Xbox games, PC, so that's a cheating answer, right? To say PC and play all of them. What about you, TJI? Which catalogue are you most looking forward to? I am very much looking forward to see what Nintendo do on the hardware front. What this Switch 2 is actually going to be. Anyone thinking Switch 2 will hit 60 frames per second is delusional. On what, Tony? On Breath of the Wild? On Astral Chain? On Luigi's Mansion 3? Or do you mean on like next gen Unreal Engine 5 super games? You reckon 2024 is going to be the best? You reckon 2024 is going to be a better year than this year? The correct answer is yes, of course it will, because in 2024 you can play all of the games from 2023 as well as the new ones. So every year is better and better, right? The library can only expand. You're looking forward to the Horizon. You're looking forward to the Horizon. You're known for diplomacy. Switch 2 best be powerful. I just want the Switch 2 to like make games look adequate on my TV, which the Switch doesn't manage to do really. So yes, make it DLSS, do whatever you want to get them frames there. I don't care how they're drawn, I just want them. Maybe Switch 2 will be a console with a Sony mobile screen add-on. You mean like the Portal? Portal was a half topic I can't really be bothered to talk about today. Because we need to get onto the questions really, don't we? One more topic before going on to the questions. So again, keep talking about all the topics that you want to that we've already gone over. But really quick, surprise announcement this week from CD Projekt Red. The Witcher 3 is getting official mod support. Don't think they put a date on it. I'm going to assume early next year. TJI, people make it seem like Sony doesn't have any games coming out, but they have Rise of Ronin. See, Rise of Ronin didn't look that interesting to me. Final Fantasy Rebirth, I'm 8,000% going to play on day one, even if I can't afford it. Silent Hill 2 remake, Wolverine, not sure if that's next year or not, but you never know. Death Stranding 2, that's not a massively appealing library to me. And it's also not really indicative of what Sony's first party are going to do, right? Wolverine is the only first party one there, and that's only a maybe for next year. So Sony still have, hopefully, more to talk about to make their lineup more exciting. You're looking forward to Silent Hill 2? Yeah, maybe, but it's not high on my list of things I'm enthusiastic about. And I'm not like pissing on what Sony have done. I sincerely hope that they have a lot that they just haven't talked about yet, because up to this point they've done really well with the PlayStation 5. But as someone who's mostly interested in what they're going to do with the VR space, I can't help but just sit on the sidelines waiting for them to tell us, what big first party game have you got that's also fully playable in virtual reality? I am ready for it. They're quiet. I don't know, it's not going to turn out that they've got nothing to release. They've been very consistent in managing to release things throughout the generation, so. Can only talk about what I already know about though, and in Sony's case it is not much, and in Microsoft's case I know they've got Avowed and I know they've got Hellblade. Episode 13, you just want Nintendo to make a proper console again, not a hybrid plot. I think it's gonna, like, they'd be wild not to do another hybrid, what with the success of it. But hopefully, yeah, the docked experience is important to them, because it is to me. It's the only way I want to play it. Anyway, that thing that I was saying, Witcher. So The Witcher 3 is getting official mod support, which is interesting. Does anybody here like to mod their games? I know we've got a few PC players here, and obviously you can do like some limited modding on console on your Bethesda games and stuff like that, but is anyone deep into the mod scene of any particular game? Because I'm not normally, but obviously I've got like 150 Skyrim mods on the go at the moment. Either do you mod Minecraft? You do, don't you? You've played a few. Normally one mod at a time, right? When you do that. Or do you layer and stack them? Yeah, you modded my... Yeah, I know. And those are mostly content mods, aren't they? That you play over there. Nobody names a new console the same name. Switch will be called... Yeah, I've got no idea. Don't know how to mod, to be truthful. Dion, it does depend on the game. My face is a mod. Thank you, episode 13. I don't know what that means. But I'll take it. So modding on a game that supports it fully versus a game that just exists and modders are doing their best can be very different. But if you have a game like Skyrim that provided the tools for people to create the mods, you get very sophisticated mod managers, and all you need to do to mod it is download a mod manager and then go and get the mods from Nexus Mod Manager. Say, I want these ones, and it sorts out the load order, it sorts out the installation, it does it all for you. So there's very little to modding those games, and you can achieve wild things. Starfield is gonna have that, but hasn't yet. So at the moment, TJ, I'll get that in a second. At the moment, Starfield has some mods available, but a lot of the modding community is kind of on the sidelines waiting for the official mod pack, like modding tools to come along, the creation engine stuff, what do they call their mod scene? I can't remember. But waiting for that to come about so they can really get their teeth into it and change up the game and hopefully give me my precious virtual reality. But now The Witcher has come along. You class mods as cheats. What if it's a mod that literally just makes the game much harder, Baz? Is it still a cheat? They're cheats in that you shouldn't be able to earn achievements and stuff while you're using them, I'll give you that. But mods on Skyrim allow me to do things like slap people, throw cheese at people. Couldn't do that in base Skyrim. I can literally pick up cheese and throw it at an NPC thanks to mods. Quality of life mods, yeah. I mean, I've got quality of life mods on Starfield already. Mods are the punk's greatest enemy. Dion, you only recently got into PC gaming. You were always a PlayStation gamer. That's fair enough. If you wanted to mod a game like a Bethesda game, you'd get there. You can obviously ask and I'd help you get there if you wanted to do that, but it is simple to do. They are very friendly, open and welcoming. You just have to be aware that you might end up fucking it all up and breaking things, but I haven't done that yet. That's not true, I have done that. My Skyrim installation currently is a little bit of a pain, but that's VR, it's a little bit more complicated. So, okay, so we've not got many people that do mod very much then. I'm gonna quickly catch TJI's question there before asking my follow-up on mods. So, I've already lost it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? You asked before if I thought that Jim Ryan was let go or he left of his own accord. With Bonnie going, do you lean a bit towards Jim being let go? You mean, when you say Bonnie, do you mean Connie Booth? Bonnie Ross was from 343, but that wouldn't be related. I think you probably mean Connie. I still think, but he wasn't fired. He didn't do anything that warranted getting fired. I think he's been very successful at Sony and he's made them a lot of money and pushed all of the things that they wanted him to push. So he wasn't fired, but was he pushed? Was it like mutually agreed? Did he want to go? That's quite hard to answer. Did he want to go is the bit that's hard to answer. I think the departure is amicable and arranged and agreed, or he wouldn't still be working there for 6 months. I think there's a fair chance that he is over-travelled from court cases and all the rest of it and did want out. He might not have an appetite for trying to fight this new competitive Microsoft and cloud-focused industry and all of these things that are changing around him. No, I don't think he was fired. I don't know whether he wanted to leave or not. Those are subtly different things. Peter, you think they both had enough? Connie Booth is harder to judge. Like, there's lots of talk. Mostly came about from David Jaffe's rumours, but lots of talk that she left due to the whole situation around like the pivot to gas games and tensions within the studios and all the rest of it. But nobody knows what side of those tensions she falls on, whether she was for the gas games or against them or all the rest of it. Can a mod bot? That's an 80s question. It's not a question I can answer. Pixel Slappy, you're a mod on a detractor channel about Dark Side Phil. Fair enough. None of this means anything to me, but I'm happy or sad depending on what's the appropriate response. So, mods. Like, I hope that vaguely answered on the Jim Ryan thing. But mods, Witcher 3. If you does anyone still play Witcher 3? Is there anything about Witcher 3 that you are now hoping that the community can fix or improve, revamp, change, mod for the better? And would you be tempted to go back and play more Witcher as a result of this new modding functionality? It's really curious to see whether it catches fire with the community or not, how big these tools are, because at the moment Skyrim still has a really active modding scene, and there's a communal Bethesda modding scene that will jump between Skyrim and Fallout that are kind of sitting there waiting to see what happens with Starfield. But these are kind of like, I think Bethesda games probably represent the biggest mod scene collectively. And it's really curious to see whether like the central parts of that mod scene are going to be looking at Witcher 3 or Starfield or both, or going elsewhere entirely. But Witcher 3 is ripe for so many mods because so many people didn't like the combat system in it that you could have a complete rewrite of that, as well as any other kind of content mod. It could become like a new Skyrim that just gets blasted with extra life that lasts for years. Or people might go, yeah, it's already a good game, don't really want to change anything there, and focus elsewhere. Which days do I do call-ins? Thursdays. TJI. That's today, that's this show, where people are welcome onto Discord to have a little chat. I don't do this kind of show any other day. The only other live content really is just like game streaming and stuff. So Sunday isn't a call-in, Sunday is multiplayer games. If you wanted to jump on to whatever we're playing on Sunday and just chat and play games, that's a whole different thing. But yes, the call-ins are for this one. And the mod conversation, Replicant likes mods. I think that's about as much depth as we're getting there, which is fine. Mods aren't people's thing, then they aren't people's thing. Pixel Slapper, a few channels, to be fair. You're exposing YouTube e-beggars. I set my super chat. No, my super chat this week was 5 figures, Pixel Slapper. 5 figures minimum. Might as well, like, shoot for the skies with them, right? Get that one bang, 10 grand or above super chat. Then I don't need to worry for a little while. Optimistic. Right. No, I set my super chat things because I don't want you people that are here supporting the channel by talking to me and stuff to feel like you need to throw money at it. So it's the opposite of e-begging. Let's do the questions and then wrap things up. Yeah? Yeah. First question, please. TJI, yes, that is how it works. The Game on Daily Discord has a Q&Asa section. There's 3 waiting rooms in there. So if you stick yourself in one of the waiting rooms, then come in and have a chat. But I'm going to say not this week because I'm going to bed now. So we're just going to run through the questions and then end this one. Next week, if you want to jump on, or any of the other weeks, you're very welcome to just stick yourself in a waiting room. And we'll do that and talk about whatever you want to talk about. So, first question is from Game Antonio. Why are you not a normal human being? Well, am I the best person to answer that question? I don't know, Pixel Slappy, your answer might, like, your respect might change depending on my answer here. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think I want to be one of those, Tony, so maybe that's the reason. If you've got any, like, better theories on why I'm not a normal human, then by all means, put them out there, and I might cry. Depends what they are, I suppose. Next question, please. You nearly yeeted your laptop by accident. Yeah, don't do that. Bri, you asked this one before. And we cleverly navigated around it by saying that everyone is Tony. Favorite subscriber is not a concept that I can entertain. So I'm grateful for everyone being here. Normal people are boring. Well, Tony, that's relatively polite of you. I'd probably say worse things about normal people, but yeah. Painful Discourse, you think you're close to the last boss of Liza P? The music, the setup, the vibe. Yeah, YouTube guides. I'll get there with you eventually. Tony, you need a back rub. How much do I charge? More than a super chat, I'm afraid. Next question, please. Doidy drops decent views, to be fair. He sounded a bit angry lately. Who's Doidy? Doody? Dooley? I can't see the letters. They're blurred together. Replicant, who's Dooley? What kind of content does he cover? Doody. It's not like you could... There's too many round letters that are blurring because I'm too far away from the screen that has chat. So I think that says Doody, but I could be wrong. What kind of content does this person cover? Dooley? It's getting closer. That does say Doody, I think. What kind of content though? Doody drops decent views and he sounded angry. Game Antonio, I would like to ask, how many days until Asa decides to play Overwatch 2? You know this one, Tony. We've been over this so many times. I am ready and willing. I have Overwatch 2 installed, probably, maybe. As soon as you can get a team of 5 people together, I'm there. We'll do it. Dirty delete. I don't know what's happening. I'm confused by that. Right. Baz, really random. What type of car do you drive? Not an exciting one. No, guys, you just checked how many something. So, I have a quite old now Mazda 6, which is not very glamorous. And I drive sometimes my wife's Mercedes A-Class as well, which is also not very glamorous. My car will fall apart any minute now, which is why I need to go get a job. Pain in the ass thing it is. How many miles does my car have? Like 100,000, Tony. It had, I think, 11,000 when I bought it, so almost 90,000 miles of mine. And it was fine. Like, Mazda make nice enough cars for what they are, but what about you, Baz? What do you drive? And also, while you're answering, next question. Or did I completely misunderstand? Or are we supposed to be talking about Forza there? You got a bus pass. Do you win? You have won if you've got a bus pass. Yeah, absolutely. Painful Discourse, you meant you don't use a guide before completing game, but sometimes you check how long it is. Yeah, I'm only messing with you. It's fine. Episode 13 asked, ducks wearing pancake hats and coats appear outside your house. What do you do? Same thing I do every day, episode 13. Try and get the ducks out of the way of my car so I can leave. I might remark on how unusual it is that someone has put pancakes on these ducks. And I might take a picture. But besides that, I don't know, realistically I might not even notice. If it's the morning, I'd probably just like be completely oblivious to what's going on around me. So, no, it's not. No, Tom, no, it's not. It's not a Merc. It's a Mercedes A-Class automatic. It's not nice to drive. It's not nice to drive. Before that, she had an electric car that was much nicer. So, much nicer. Episode 13 asked, why would you rate PlayStation Portal 6 ducks out of 100 and out of 100 in D2 and they throw it in the bin? I would rate it that because realistically I would rate it whatever Sony told me to in exchange for the free hardware. If they said I had to say it was excellent, I would say the PlayStation Portal is an excellent device. I'm being facetious, I wouldn't. I will not review any handheld devices because I don't care for them. So I'm the wrong person to say whether they're good, bad or ugly. Because I don't want one. Buffer. Hopefully that's just you, Isla. Everything looks fine, but thank you for the alert. No, he wouldn't. I mean, maybe. So, Peter, you have a bus pass and you've only ever used it once so far on holiday. Cool, there's no buses near me, so if I get to bus pass age, I'm just stuck at home. Baz, just been noisy. You got a shitty 2013 Ford Fiesta and the girlfriend has a 2018 BMW 3. Done something wrong in life. So many things wrong in life, Baz. Like, you know, there's still time. Okay, Peter asked, no one is normal. More to the point, why isn't Tony normal enough not to ask me why I am not normal? Crazy. That is a rhetorical question that doesn't need an answer. So I'm just going to say I think he had too much Chihuahua milk growing up, Peter. I think it's the Chihuahua milk. Next question, please. No, Pixel Slappy, you're not timed out. I can see you there. Apologies if I missed something that you said, but... Next question, please. Okay, Tom asked, if normal people are boring and everyone is Tony, what does that logically mean? Don't bring logic into this, Tom. There's a time and a place for logic. Sometimes you just have to let it go and say things. Because there's no way we're going to bring this around and come to the conclusion that that makes Tony the normal. That would be strange. No, I think we best just move on from that one. Quick, give me the next one. Tom, your 2010 Peugeot 308 was alright until it started letting in water the other week and now it's damp. Does it smell yet? Uh-oh, I think I've lost the questions. Tom's trying to be Spock with his logic. Right, Game on Tony asked, others bought Steam Deck because they can. I bought Steam Deck because parents were too poor to buy me any type of video game console or handheld. So you're saying other people bought it because it's just like normal behavior for them. You bought it because you are feeling privileged that you have the opportunity to buy things for yourself now when you grew up with nothing but Chihuahua milk and rice. I understand, Tony. That's nice. I'm glad you've got it. I'm glad you can get good things for yourself. And for T-Rex and all the rest of it. Next question, please. I am dying. No, I'm not. This is your favourite show. Thank you. I'm glad. This is episode 70 of this show. So, ain't that something? Next question, please. Ask the audience which game to review next. What if I don't like their answer? I'll take suggestions though. Anybody there? I've done a review for Immortals of Avium, I've done a review for Hades, and I've done a review for Spider-Man. What should I review next? One option that I'm going to explore, and it does depend on my capacity to play and record it, is the Assassin's Creed VR game, so I might review that. Other options that I'm considering are Remnant 2 and there were some other things that I had in mind, and anything that I've already completed would be quicker to review. Anything recent, Robocop's another one, but what do you want to see? Is there anything that you want to see reviewed? Remnant 2? Or is there just no point in doing them? Because I don't know, reviews is a weird thing for the people that crave information like now and immediately before games come out, right? Has anyone played and finished Zelda Part 2? You mean Tears of the Kingdom? Nobody has finished Tears of the Kingdom. It's actually little known secret. That's like it's like that old Mickey Mouse game where you get to a certain point and there's a completely unassailable challenge. You cannot jump over the gap that it presents to you. It's impossible to complete that game. So nobody has ever finished Tears of the Kingdom. Fact. Not actually a fact. I don't know why I said any of that. It was completely made up nonsense. So make you rage, you need to sleep. WRC, yeah, you mentioned that one before, Tom. Thing with that game is I know that the VR support is coming soon, so my review is just going to be, boo, there's no VR support yet. Until there is VR support. But you're right, it being a bit more niche might make it more worthwhile. Vrak sounds cool. Oh, VR Assassin's Creed. It does depend on my capacity to record it because it's a native Quest game. So yes, I'm a wizard that can do many things. But it's like I don't want to have to cable the headset just to do the review. So we'll see. We'll see. I might stream that one. Might try and get it working with my treadmill. Or I might see what the recording situation is. Figure it out from there. Fly the flag. Which flag, Pixel Slapper? Like a VR flag? Last question. No, the questions are gone. We had the last question. Or is that what you're saying? That makes sense. Oh, bad. Peter did... No, I don't like that word. For a Peugeot 205 this week. Anyone who walked in who knew what it was, drooled at this old banger. Drooled at it. Okay. You did this in real life, Peter, or in a game? Do you mean in a game? You've not been painting up real cars. The VR, so I don't know when the virtual reality support comes to WRC. They just confirmed that it is coming post-launch. Tony, why did games only come out in certain regions? Because they thought they are a better country. What games came out in certain regions? What do you mean? Decals, yeah, I don't like that word. But you're correct, that is the one that I was avoiding. Please make videos. Yes, hopefully. When were you painting stuff in real life? You can't just paint people's cars, Peter. They get annoyed. Drooling or otherwise. Back in the day before internet boom. So if you're talking about what I mentioned earlier, where I got some obscure games from Japan, there's obviously issues of language and translation. Games, like, there's a cost to that, and the games in question would not have made back cost of those translations. So that's a reason. Region locks were also a thing. It was a protective measure, because obviously economies around the world are very different, and they didn't want us UK people getting games cheap from other regions. I don't know. It's a long time ago. Why you don't like? What does that mean, Isla? Who doesn't like what? Oh, the word decals. I don't want to talk about it. I don't like it because it's a danger word that I fear mispronouncing. Like livery. And they go together because you get decals and liveries making up the same thing, and I hate both words. So, you sign right cars for, oh, this is what you do, Peter. You're 3 days a week is applying transfers to cars and stuff. That's interesting. And boats, you get to put the names on the boats. You don't know what it is. Oh, Isla, it's terrible. If you go onto like a Forza Motorsport and you want to paint the car, you go into the livery editor and you apply the decals. They're all like related horrible words. Plums and plums gets embarrassing. Peter is just randomly sticking his graffiti art on other people's Peugeots. And then making a daring escape with his bus pass. I can see it. I can see it. Not phobias either. I'm not afraid of anything. Apart from being stabbed in the eye. It's more of an aversion than a phobia. So, let's end it there. Before anyone gets any bright ideas. People ring you up and ask what you can do. And ask them, you do stickers? And you... Of course we do stickers. Peter is secretly Banksy. Yeah, could be. That's a rumour I say we should spread. You have many phobias. Don't share them. It's danger. Wait, you mean me? Oh, Tony. Yes, my name is very similar to Ass. It is a mistake that comes up from time to time. Anyway, this is the end of the show. So, thank you everyone that's come. Whether you've been talking to me, whether you've been talking to each other, or whether you've been sitting in silence, just taking in the chaos and nonsense, it is much appreciated. Badgers and non-badgers alike. So, tomorrow, I don't think there is anything tomorrow. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday. Which I think means a day off of doing stream stuff. Saturday we'll have Go Live. Sunday we'll have community stuff. Them's the plans. Them's the plans. And that's the end. Oh, yeah, sorry, I probably didn't mention that, did I? I'm not 100% sure, Ella. She might decide that for her birthday she really wants to play games, but it's not that likely. So, I forgot to mention until now. I completely forgot that it was her birthday until right now, this moment, which means I've got a bit of a panic ahead of me. So, goodbye, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your games and your sleep and your everything else. And I will catch you soon. Bleh.
Asa. Game on daily.